And I just want to exhort us on Jesus performing supernaturally through our seed. Multiplying our seed supernaturally. And we are in a season of miracles. So every seed you sow, speak to that seed to be multiplied supernaturally for you. Because we are in a season of miracles. Matthew 14:15-21 in the NIV. It says this: as evening approached, the disciples came to him and said, "This is a remote place and it's already getting late. Send the crowds away so they can go to the villages and buy themselves some food." And I said, this look at the mentality, the thinking of the disciples. They just saw this crowd and they were like, no, there's no way we can feed these ones. So let them go away so that they can go and get themselves food. God wants people to come so that people can be fed. Both the word and the physical food. Jesus replied, "They do not need to go away. You give them something to eat." Are you seeing where Jesus is taking the responsibility? It's us to give something to eat. It's us to sow seed. It's us to give. You give out of what you have. You give. Jesus telling the disciples, no, they don't need to go away. You give them something to eat. It's you to sow the seed. It's you to give. And then verse 17. We have here only 5 loaves of bread and 2 fish, they answered. And I said this response was similar to the response of the widow. Remember we talked about the widow? The widow said what? I have nothing except a handful of flour and a little oil. The disciples are saying what? We have here only, thinking of something very little. This one, Lord, it can't be enough for the 5,000 seated here, plus the children and women. See the thinking is when you have something, but you don't see like God can use your seed to supply. God requires your seed to feed the hungry. So I know some people are sitting and saying, you know what, me I don't have. I just have a little, Miss Evelyn. I just have a little. God wants to use your little. And out of the little is where the multiplication of the supernatural supply is going to come for you. For you. And verse 18. Bring them here to me. God is able to work with your seed after you've brought it to him. He multiplies it after it gets to him. And he directed the people to sit on the grass, taking the 5 loaves and the 2 fish, and looking up to heaven, he gave thanks and broke the loaves. Then he gave them to the disciples, and the disciples gave them to the people. And verse 20, they all ate and were satisfied. And the disciples picked up 12 basketfuls of broken pieces that were left over. This is the multiplication happened after they brought the seed to Jesus. After you bring your seed to him, then he can work with it to do the supernatural multiplication. Can you imagine? Out of 5 loaves and 2 fish, Jesus and the disciples were able to feed 5,000 men, excluding women and children. And yet, they ate and had more left over in store. More left over in store. When you compare this with the story of the widow, they ate, her and her household, and the prophet ate for what? Many days. No running out when you give to the Father. There's no running out. God will perform the supernatural supply for you. Imagine the multiplication that was done. The supernatural supply that was there for men, 5,000 men to eat. He wants to do that for you. That which you are keeping away, that which you think it's not enough, bring it to him. Bring it to Jesus and allow him to do the supernatural with it. He's looking for seed to work with seed to perform the supernatural. So that you and your household can be satisfied and have many more left in store.